Since the new year, I've been busy with custom order builds, and here we are with the first PC flip. This case and a few other parts is what started this build. If you watched my PC case swap video, then these parts might look familiar, especially this cooler since I've tried to use it already and the fitment didn't go as planned on this build. But let's get straight into the parts list that make up this PC. Let's start off with the motherboard. The motherboard I originally tried to go with was a MSI Z590A Pro that I offered someone $85 for on OfferUp and they accepted, but never shipped it out. I had a strange feeling something like this would happen, so I had already put in an offer on eBay for this Aorus Z590 Master, which I got a better deal for, but it had some bent pins. So third time's a charm, I was able to get this Asus Prime Z590P Wi-Fi. It comes with 4 DIMM slots, 3 M.2 slots, Wi-Fi, and it did include the IO shield, which is definitely a plus. For the CPU, we went with the i7-11700K, which I also got off of eBay for a really good deal. It's a beast 8-core and 16-thread CPU with a base clock speed of 3.6 GHz and can boost up to 5 GHz. For the RAM, I actually had these G.Skill Ripjaw 2x16 kit clocked at 3600 MHz. It originally came from this build from about a year ago. It's actually my main editing PC that I currently use. Now to cool down this 11700K, this cooler might look familiar since I've been trying to use it on a couple builds that just didn't fit. It's a 280mm Arctic Freeze AIO, which was originally installed in this case, so yes, it will fit, or at least I'll make it fit. For the storage, even though prices are double now since the new year, the 1TB WD Black M.2 drives have been on the cheaper side of things, with read speeds up to 5000 megabytes per second and write speeds up to 4900 megabytes per second. I'll have a breakdown on the parts and the prices I paid for later in the video. And now that we went through most of the parts, let's start this build. This case has some history. It originally was a iBuyPower pre-built, then reused for a custom build, and now being used for a custom build PC by me. It reminds me of the black Montech Sky 2 case, which I've built in already. To power this beast is the PVA Galaxy 650 watt. I've used these power supplies plenty of times in many builds. It's semi-modular for space saving, and to also make this build pop, I added some black cable extensions with a touch of red. Now to save the best for last is the graphics card. Here we have a RTX 3070, which I've been able to get plenty of these for around $250 to $280, not $800. Not sure where someone is getting 3070s for $800, especially used, but now that we went through most of the parts, let's finish off this build. So this time it wasn't the cooler that didn't fit. The fans that came with this PC case stick out too much, so the graphics card wouldn't fit. I ended up getting these Thermalright 120mm low profile fans that only came in white, but I had no choice, which I think it still looks kind of good. What are your thoughts? Does the white ruin this build? Let me know down in the comments. And of course, this wouldn't be an X-Builds PC without a little unique touch. With this carbon fiber vinyl I added to the case. Now let's cut to the final product. Now time for some benchmarks. I was only able to get some Fortnite recordings because this build actually sold quicker than I thought. I usually post my builds up for sale as soon as I finish building and going through stress testing to make sure it's stable. They usually take about a week or two to sell, so I usually take that time to run some games and get all my recordings for the videos. All the settings were tested on low to medium, and I was able to average 200 FPS. On all those settings in performance mode, you can get 300 FPS. Here's a breakdown on the parts and the prices that I paid for. Everything on this build was used besides the storage, power supply, and cables. Check out the links in the description. I'll have some alternatives on parts that you can save money on. And if you found this video helpful or entertaining, click the video on the screen for another PC flip.